Hello everyone. Today my speech is going to be on how to set up a dialysis machine. A lot of people are unfamiliar with what dialysis is, but it is for patients that are on or have chronic kidney failure where their kidneys no longer work. So today we're going to just briefly show you how to set up a kidney machine. And that way a lot of people that do have dialysis or may have to have dialysis will somehow get just a brief example or just the imagination of what it is or how it looks. So first off, we're going to cut the machine on. While we're letting the machine come on, I'm going to gather my supplies. The supplies we need for the kidney machine or dialysis machine is a bag of normal saline, which is what we use because that's the only fluid that is compatible with the human blood. We have what we call a dialyzer, but most people know it as the kidney itself. This is what cleans and filters the blood with the help of the machine. So when we say the kidney, this is what we're talking about. Some patients, the patients whose kidney doesn't work, this little tubing does the job for them. Next we have the blood tubing setting. This is what the blood goes in and out of from the body through the machine to get it clean. And you have two sets. You have a red set, which is the arterial, and you have the blue set, which is the venous. The red is for bad blood. The blue is for good blood. So we take the bad blood out through the red and we put the blue blood back in, which is the good blood. And what we do, we just make sure we take all of the paper off, all of the tubings and the supplies that we need. And we hang our saline on this little hook up here. With our kidney, we have two ports on the end, and I'll show it to you. These little two ports here, we make sure that we keep them covered until we get ready to use the machine. So we cap those off, and we put it on what we call our kidney hanger. And this is what our kidney sits on. Next, we undo the tubing that we use to set up the machine. We have our saline line, and we have little clamps on them, and we make sure that we clamp everything off because you don't want air to get in any of your tubing. And we take this twist top off the saline and we poke it so that we can be able to access the fluid that's in the bag. And make sure that it's on there very tight, and we just let this hang until we get ready to connect it to our next piece of tubing. And you always want to make sure that none of your tubing ever hits the floor, because if it does, then it's contaminated and you have to start all back over. And make sure we clamp off our blue lines, and this is where our clean blood comes from. And this side of the machine is for the venous. And remember, venous is for the clean blood. And then we have a priming bucket, which is set on every side of the dialysis machine. And this is what we use to prime our lines so that we can get the normal saline in and the air out. So we hang our tubing that connects to the patient, we hang it in our priming bucket. Then you have the tubing that's connected to the dialyzer. You connect it, the red is at the top and the blue is on the bottom. Next, we get ready to set up our red side, which is the arterial side for the dirty blood. And since the arterial side is for the dirty blood, we pulling it out the body, so we have to put it on a blood pump. And this is our blood pump. And again, you have the red side that you hook to your dialyzer for your dirty blood, and it goes to the top of the kidney. Next, we connect our patient line to our prime bucket. And then we use our saline line, and we connect it to this saline tail that's hooked onto the arterial blood tube. Now, once we make sure that everything is secure and all our lines and tubing is in place, then what we have to do is prime the machine to get all the air out of the lining, because you never want air to go into the patient's body. It can cause them death. So what I'm going to do is, my saline bag, I'm going to unhook it so that I can give it, it'll go by gravity to fill up my red line. And I just use this reverse method so that it'll fill up a little bit quicker. Now, in order to make sure that the air gets out of the blue line, which is the venous, you have to push prime on the machine. So we hit the prime button, and you make sure that your pump speed is at 200. Just make so that you'll be able to get all the air out of the machine. And then we let the machine prime, and you reverse your kidney so that the red tubing is pulled by still being pulled by gravity, so that the saline will continue to go through. And as we let this prime, which usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes, I'm not going to do it the whole demonstration, but it usually takes about 1 to 2 minutes. Once we let it prime, we set our machine up how much we want to pull off the patient, and then we connect our patients to receive their dialysis. As I stated in the beginning of my speech, this is how you set up a dialysis machine. Thank you.